Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you again. Thank you, Amy. After the forceful and positive and wise, humane, and energetic presentation of Donna Cardio, it's time for us to speak about fatigue. I feel exhausted. But what about Donna Cardio and Amy? Because you talking about fatigue, you just can't imagine that it is in New Jersey and on the East Coast. It is now 3 o'clock in the morning, and having a speech like this one is quite a performance. Donna, I was fascinated by your presentation, so thank you very much. This morning's second session is we'll be focusing on a common enemy, dealing with fatigue. Why common enemy? Because it's a bit of an undescribable symptom. It's a symptom that we believe everything was said about in the past, and that people affected by MS are even tired of talking about it because it is not a welcome topic. We will try this morning to do something about this with a panel composed of Professor Daphne Kos and two persons with MS, Eduard, Platea, and Taja Habic. Eduard is from Romania and Taja is from Slovenia. But we are starting the session with a poll, like we did yesterday, but contrary to what or differently from what we did yesterday, you are not asked to fill in the poll right away. So we will disclose the result after the presentation of our panel members, just to feed the discussion afterwards. But I leave you with the poll questions now so that you can fill in the three questions. Question one is, in one word, try to describe your mood when fatigue hits. And there we have suggestions, options: grumpy, sad, empty, anxious, stressed, emotional, overwhelmed, sorry, or whatever. Question two, this is not limitative, obviously. You can fill in as you feel. If you feel that the words do not cover what you are resenting. Question two is, what do you find most challenging when dealing with fatigue? It's waking up in the morning, that applies to me, getting on with the daily tasks, socializing, seeing people, staying positive. Donna just addressed this, understanding what's best for myself, explaining to my friends and family how I feel, adapting work activities, rearranging schedules, and so on. So we do not have three questions, we have two questions, but obviously try to focus on the suggestions, but if you feel that that your fatigue cannot be expressed with these words, choose your own words. Now it is my privilege to introduce Professor Daphne Kos. Professor Daphne Kos is co-manager of the Occupational Therapy Bachelor and Master Program in AP University College Antwerp and KU Leuven. It's a sort of inter-university program with the universities of Ghent, Hasselt, and Antwerp, which, for those of you who do not live in Belgium, are three major Belgium cities. She is also the president of RIMS, so don't miss her speech on how to deal with fatigue one of the most common symptoms of MS, and then later after her speech, I'll introduce you to Eduard and Taja. Professor Kos, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice introduction. I will make a short correction in it, as I'm no longer affiliated to the Upper University College in Antwerp, but I'm affiliated to the National MS Center in Malsbrook nowadays. But however, I'm still involved in the program. No problem, no problem. I don't know whether or not my presentation will start. Yes, thank you very much. Here you are. So I will share my knowledge today about fatigue in MS. And I actually wanted to say I would like to share my experience, but that's something I can't describe. A lot of people with MS are having complaints of fatigue, as you all know. And the feelings of fatigue people with MS experience is so hard to understand for people who do not have the disease. But I will try to give you some tools and some ideas how to deal with it in daily life. This is the outline of my presentation, so I will shortly talk about fatigue and then we'll go into detail about fatigue management and the evidence available and what the active ingredients are, to conclude with some take-home messages. Fatigue in MS is highly prevalent. As you can see in this picture on the left side, it is highly prevalent in people with MS, but also in other neurological diseases, with prevalence rates of up to 83% of people with MS complaining of fatigue. So it's a major problem. And as you can see on the right part of the slide, both people with progressive MS, but also people with relapsing remitting MS, are complaining of fatigue. So it's highly prevalent. So it is an important issue to deal with. And people will often hear that in their rehabilitation practices, in the neurological consultations, and of course in daily life. Where does this come from, this fatigue? Well, actually, there are several factors playing a role in there, and it is probably a combination of some primary factors and secondary factors leading to these fatigue complaints. And I would shortly go into detail about these origins, because it is leading our management in a way. So that's why I just want to shortly introduce you to these ideas. MS is an autoimmune disease of the central nervous system, affecting a variety of systems in the body. And without going into much details, there may be influences of the immune system in fatigue, but also on increased energy demands due to the compensation mechanisms that appear due to losses in the nervous system. But also hormone imbalance may play a role. But there is no actually clear consensus about what is playing an exact role, and there is no single one factor that is specifically defined yet. So probably it is a combination of several factors there. If we look at the secondary factors, many issues or many topics can play a role in there. Activity rest imbalance, physical deconditioning, mood and anxiety, medication do have side effects leading to fatigue as well. Also sleep patterns may play an important role, as well as other symptoms like pain or maybe some bladder or bowel problems may also be factors leading to fatigue. And actually, it's important to take into account all these possible factors leading to a fatigue when we focus on the management of fatigue. And of course, they can also interact with each other, so it's quite complicated actually. Well, how can we deal with fatigue? As a rehabilitation practitioner, fatigue management is really part of rehabilitation. And from this systematic review of systematic reviews, we can see that fatigue management is quite oftenly studied. And there are 18 studies reported here. And so there is some evidence, there is quite some evidence on fatigue management, both at the short and the long-term effects. So immediately after the intervention and at longer term, it has been studied in several studies. The quality of the evidence, as you can see from the green arrow here, is high. So it would actually, this would suggest to that we don't need any additional research because there is a lot of evidence, there is a high quality. However, if we really focus on what's in there, what is in there in that fatigue management, there are so many different strategies, and I would like to dig into them today, so you can have a view on that. What are the possibilities? Well, there are several strategies, as I said, and the first one I listed here is the pharmacological treatment. And I put them between brackets because it's not my expertise to talk about pharmacological treatment, but also because it is actually advised not to fight fatigue with medication only. It can be used in combination with behavioral strategies, but behavioral strategies are actually the first option to take. And this is, in practice, it's not always the case. There are some studies on medication indicating that the drugs may have an influence, may have a positive influence in a subgroup of people with MS, but definitely not overwhelming evidence and definitely not overwhelming confidence of the effect of medication. So that's why we want to focus on these behavioral strategies. And the first one I would like to talk about is the exercise therapy. Exercise training can be general exercise, both on the land or in water. It can be about flexibility, like stretching. It can be balance training, aerobic fitness, muscle training, or a combination of all these. And in general, this exercise training is delivered by physical or exercise therapists in face-to-face format, either or not in combination with a home-based training program. Very often people are provided with some exercises to do at home as well. And the duration is ranging from 8 to 16 weeks with 2 to 3 days a week of sessions, and then sessions of 45 to 60 minutes each. Usually it is tailored to the individual, but delivered in group. And then the gradual increase of difficulties is possible when you tailor this to the individual. The next strategy I want to talk about is energy conservation. Energy conservation is a strategy that focuses on the analysis and modification of activities to reduce energy expenditures to use energy more efficiently, like a battery actually. If you have a battery that is fully charged, you can better function, and the functioning would be better. And that's actually the idea behind this energy conservation. And what we do to conserve energy or to charge the battery is take frequent rests, prioritize activities, do what you like, do what you would like, what you prefer, and what provides energy as well. Plan your activities in order to balance this activity and rest as well. Delegate some activities. We have heard from the previous session that it's a strength to ask for help, and this is also the case in this fatigue management. It's good to ask for help. And another strategy is use the body efficiently, organizing tools, materials, and work area. Use assistive technologies if appropriate to conserve energy. instead of walking, of taking stairs, for example, 5 times a day in order to get something to be able to prepare your meal. You would think of reorganizing materials there. And that's a bit the idea behind this. Adopting good posture, because it can also lead to fatigue, to muscle fatigue, and when posture is not good. Leading a healthy lifestyle, so performing regular exercise is also included in here. Healthy diet and stress management. These are all the ideas or the principles of the energy conservation program. And it is usually delivered by occupational therapists in a face-to-face format, but also available in online or teleconference formats. There are quite some studies performed on this. And the idea is that people learn about the strategies and then apply them in their home. So they get some homework in order to use this strategy and to see how effective they are for them. And it's usually delivered in group in 3 to 16 weeks, so quite a variety in the duration, but most commonly performed in 6 weeks, and then a variety of duration for each session as well. Another strategy is the cognitive behavior therapy for MS fatigue, the CBT. And the idea of CBT is to the primary disease factors, like I showed you earlier on, may trigger the initial symptom of fatigue. But fatigue may be perpetuated or worsened due to other factors like stress, due to reactions of people on that fatigue, due to beliefs people may have on fatigue. For example, if people believe that they should rest, that they should rest a lot because of their fatigue and to avoid worsening of symptoms, yeah, maybe they can be even more fatigued due to the extended rest periods, due to muscle deterioration, to deconditioning, also to the imbalance of sleep and wake cycles. So that's actually what has been taken care of in this CBT program. And to do so, CBT therapists will set together, of course, with the person, will set goals, will set smart goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, and realistic. It's very important that there are realistic goals in there, and that people are stimulated to activity routines, to consistent activity routines in order to keep that sleep-waking cycle in balance. And also to help unhelpful thoughts in relation to fatigue change into positive feelings about this fatigue, and also set high personal expectations to another level in order to avoid also this disappointment and so on. And a part of CBT is also managing stress and accessing social support. So again, asking for help. And it includes fatigue relapse prevention as well. It's usually delivered by a cognitive behavioral therapist, most likely a psychologist, in a program of 8 to 16 weeks with 16 minutes of each session. It's individual, usually, in a face-to-face format. There are some studies going on looking at the blended version also. And also here, there is a part of homework where people use the strategies at home, and a tailored website and telephone or email support is also part of the program. And then the last one is relaxation, and we have heard about it in the previous session already. But the goal actually is to produce body's natural relaxation response by decreasing breathing, by normalizing breathing patterns, by reducing blood pressure, and by increasing well-being. And techniques that are used are progressive relaxation, guided imagery. So try to imagine good situations, positive situations. Use of biofeedback, where people get feedback from their own physiological responses, like heart rate and sweat and so on. Self-hypnosis and deep breathing exercise, as was shown in the previous session as well. Usually it is delivered by psychotherapists or physiotherapists, and very often it is a program of 4 weeks with 40 minutes 2 times a week. But there is quite limited information about the relaxation program actually in the literature, so there is a blind spot still. Looking at the evidence for intervention, if we look at the number of studies, it has been provided by this meta-analysis, where we can see in the blue spots the number of performed studies, and the lines are the direct comparisons. And as you can see here, a lot of strategies have been studied quite a lot. CBT and all exercise programs are studied quite a lot in comparison with treatment as usual, so the usual care. So quite some studies performed, and if we look at the results of the study, we can see in this picture, and actually this is a diagram, a figure of studies of more than 6,000 participants in 103 studies of immediate treatment effect, so immediately after the intervention, and then again compared to usual care. And if we look at the effect, we can see on the left side the improvement in fatigue levels, and at the right side the worsening. And the figure displays the balance exercise and cognitive behavioral therapy showed the most or the highest effectiveness in reducing fatigue. But also other forms of exercise are effective, as well as relaxation strategies and energy conservation strategies. And other interventions are not really effective, as they cross the zero line in the middle. So there are also people who worsened their fatigue. So that's not what we want. If we look at the longer term effects, at a follow-up of 3 to 6 months, we can see that the CBT and the combination of behavioral and exercise training have effect after 3 to 6 months, as well as the energy conservation program. They are effective at a mid-long term. However, all other strategies, including the exercise therapies, have not shown effectiveness at a mid-long follow-up. But the studies performed there is additional research needed, because there is quite some variety in studies, and not all studies have been looking at the longer term effectiveness. So we cannot draw very firm conclusions on this one. Now we have seen the content and the evidence of fatigue management programs, we can explore potential mechanisms of fatigue. And this rather complicated figure about the hypothetical effect of exercise on mechanisms underlying MS fatigue shows that changes in primary or exercise may change primary factors of MS fatigue. And it may impact on plasticity, brain plasticity. It may also reduce inflammation and normalize hormone balance. On the other hand, we can see an improvement of sleep quality. We can see an improvement of depression, so lower depression. We can see also cardiovascular changes, so a better condition. And we can see lower expenditure in ADL activity. So these all lead to a reduced secondary fatigue. So as you can see, this exercise may change both primary and secondary factors leading to fatigue. Focusing on the treatment effect of CBT, we can see that CBT may change perception of fatigue by making fatigue controllable, time-limited, and less devastating, and thereby reducing the fatigue levels in people with MS. So that's actually the theoretical model of CBT, but there are some studies needed to confirm this.
Okay,
So to
Professor.
conclude,
Yes.
yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to. We are
Yeah.
over time. I'm sorry,
Okay,
but
I'm sorry. Yes, yeah. I will wrap up with some take-home messages, maybe just to conclude. I think it's important to show this one. So the cognitive behavioral therapy is most effective at short and long term. Exercise and relaxation are effective at short term, however, long-term effects are unsure. Balance training is most effective at short term. Energy conservation is more effective at long term, especially when combined with elements of CBT. Education only is not enough. And we want to strive for sustained behavioral change, so integrated in daily life, and longer term treatments or booster session may therefore be necessary to maintain the effect the programs have. And the research and mechanisms may improve insights in who will benefit most of the strategy, leading to a tailor-made rehabilitation. And just to end my presentation, I would like to invite you to the next conference of the Rehabilitation in MS network taking place at the end of November. And I thank you for the attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions about it.
okay. Thank you very much, Professor. Sorry to have interrupted you, and
No problem.
I would like first to apologize for the faux pas in introducing you. One, I should have known, and
That's
two,
no problem.
it's like presenting the CEO of Biogen whilst it is the CEO of Roche, which would be a real faux pas. The MS Center in Mersbruck is one of the very first MS centers in Europe, and so apologies for this faux pas.
No problem.
We're moving to the next. I would say next two speakers. Eduard Platea has been a board member of APEN MS Society for 2 years. He's leading multiple projects for young patients, different volunteer programs, and he's attending international conferences. He also collaborated for 2 international projects with EFNA and EMSP. Eduard, floor is yours. We really would like to hear from patients themselves, reflections about fatigue, and also reactions to Professor Koss' introduction. Thank you.
Thank you,
The floor
Charles,
is yours.
thank you, Charles, for the great presentation, and thank you to EMSP. I'm very grateful to be here in front of everyone. I guess it's the perfect day to speak about fatigue, because I'm actually experiencing a high level of fatigue. I'm just coming from. I traveled yesterday, and I was very stressed and anxious about traveling in pandemic times. And I had a very high level of fatigue this morning. However, okay, I have to speak in front of the EMSP organization and to everyone. So let's get my level up. As Donna said, Donna had a great presentation because it's about transforming fatigue and trying to improve the symptoms and everything. I know that usually when it comes to fatigue, we always focus on the bad things, and it should be, because it's also about the bad feelings that we cannot get up from the bed, that we cannot do I don't know, with the proper attitude, the things that we should do at our job or no matter what. However, it's about how we do see the day, how we will look at it. Because from my experience, I was very I had my fatigue improve when I was focused on the positive feelings, and I was focused on what I can do. I started to experience the fatigue. Fatigue is the most common invisible symptom, and it's like no one it's looking at it from outside, and well, it is invisible. So I have started this fatigue to experience fatigue while taking interferons, and well, I had a huge challenge at that time to express my feelings and to say to my family that okay, I cannot do things, I cannot wake up from the bed, that I do have bad days, that it's hard to explain all these things. And if I do remember correctly, I had I was very judgmental with myself. I had a huge hard time, and I was lucky to find a psychotherapist that guided me to get out from the bad thoughts and from everything, because it's important to have a proper support from the family, from psychotherapist, and from your friends. It's important to express your feelings, and when you are experiencing this fatigue, for me it was important to be kind with myself, to not have high standards. While well, I do have a bad day, it's okay to have bad days. You are not a robot, you cannot be 100% up every each day. And well, you should think about that okay, you need to take some time to rest, because it's also about you. Usually patients want to have things finished. Patients with MS would like to have things finished yesterday. Well, I was very nervous with myself, and I wanted to tackle all the problems to be solved since yesterday, and I had this I was used to work like that, and I have learned to be good with myself, and to, I don't know, to have the bad days, but to react better. And I started to focus on meditation, on motivational quotes, because um, this might help, and might be a huge game changer in your life as a patient with MS. Also, you should look at I don't know, in all the scientific data says that sugar, lactose, gluten, it's also are important in MS fatigue. And also regarding the diet, you can experience a lot of diets. There are outside, there are stories that can improve the patient's life while experiencing this fatigue. Do not judge yourself. I will say this as many times as I would be able, because we usually judge ourselves that we are not able to do the things that we usually normally do. And this is not okay to be judgmental with yourself, and you need to improve and to become better for you, for yourself, and after for the others, to serve the others. Being kind with myself helped, I don't know, in all the areas, not only about fatigue. It helped me to uh, get better relationships with friends, with get I don't know, a better collaboration at work. I'm working in a multinational environment while doing also the volunteering part, and well, it's like a huge work for me as a workload, and sometimes I'm trying to take one day off to chill out, and to it's okay to take one day off when those bad days are coming. It's okay to not work, and as a
Eduard,
takeaway message, please.
I think we might come back to you to complete your remarks. Maybe we'd like to listen now to Taja, if that is fine with you, and
Sure,
then
please.
we'll show the result of the poll, and then I will ask the three of you to make the final remarks about this session, because somewhere I'm the timekeeper as well, and so I. And Taja is sorry for the pronunciation, Taja. If it's not good, I apologize. Please, could you make your remarks now, and then we will show the results of the poll, and then I'll ask each of you to make a few remarks about the poll. Okay? Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Eduard.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I hope so. Well, I'm connecting with my telephone because my computer doesn't work. What can I say? Hello from Ljubljana. We have a nice weather today. Yes and no sometimes. So, I have to tell, before I actually start, my fatigue problem started 4 years before they told me I have MS. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Just something was wrong. I had to take a break every 2 hours for at least 15 minutes. And that was quite hard if you have a lot of work, you know? So when they told me you have MS, no one told me that having fatigue problems, I can get a therapies for that. I had to learn everything by myself. I wanted to learn. So I decided to watch myself and to see what it suits to me and to my body. And I found out that yes, like Miss Koss said, I work out a lot, 5-6 times a week. It helps me a lot. But I had to find by myself what kind of exercise actually helps me. Is it cardio or just stretching or something else? I found out that cardio and working out with weights, heavy weights, it's actually really good for me, for my body and my legs, and for my fatigue. So I started doing that, and it helps. It's not 100% better, but it's better. I'm happy with that. I have to say that I started to listen myself, and whenever I see that I need a break, I will take a break and I will rest, or I will go for a walk, or I will just have to um, put my mind in off position, not thinking about things I'm doing at the same time. So this is the way I'm trying to not focus on fatigue, because sometimes you have something to do, very important thing, and you can't just say, oh, I'm taking a break, so I just try to maybe just walk, that is my probably main things. Oh yes, and sleep. I have to sleep a lot. I sleep 8 to 10 hours a night. It helps. I'm resting less if I'm sleeping well. So this is what I'm doing. Every MS patient has different ways to deal with fatigue. These are mine. But my advice is listen to yourself and try to find out how to deal with fatigue problems as good as possible. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I forgot to say that you are from a beautiful city, Ljubljana, which I like a lot. and that you were when you were diagnosed, you were studying architecture. Did you
Yes.
complete your studies?
Not yet. I'm close, but not yet.
You're close.
That
Well,
is, yes, that is a problem. Fatigue is a problem for
yeah.
studying such a hard study. You know, they expect a lot. And if you are tired all the time, you have to have breaks all the time. And you know, it's it a little bit slows down studies. So, but you know, I'm trying to handle everything as much as possible, and I don't want to be depressed because things are not doing as well as to the others. I'm studying, I'm doing, I'm trying to finish it. You know, it's hard,
Okay.
but I'm trying to handle it.
Well, we wish you every success.
Thank you.
Okay. May I now ask the results of the poll, please? Are we going to see them? So I guess you can see it on the screen. Well, it's we have a good spread, but a lot of people are feeling empty, just without forces. Other people feel overwhelmed, and then we have a large spread over other topics like being emotional, being sad, grumpy, and sad. But from what I heard in the two in the two speeches from Taja and Eduard, I mean, they are reacting very beautifully to it, and very much in the sense of what Donna told us this morning. So we are going to finish this session with a couple of comments, and I'd like to take the comments from Professor Kos in the first place. Are you surprised by any of these results of the poll? Is
Well,
something very brief, if you can?
yes, I'm not really surprised, as it is very I've heard this a lot, and what I very often hear is that it's so frustrating. You want to go on, you want to study, you want to work, you want to meet friends, you want to do nice things in your life, and you're so frustrated because you can't, because you're too fatigued, or you're maybe anxious because you become fatigued. You have to plan everything, and then yeah, I recognize it very much, what is listed here, these reaction, definitely, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Eduard?
I would mark the same results, top results, with
Yeah,
for sure. I would have marked the same because, well, there are times when I cannot get out of my bed, and those are the bad
yeah.
days, you know. And also when I do feel empty, but I'm trying to load myself with love, joy, and to move forward and to empower myself. And at the end of the day, it does not matter how much you do have. It does matter what you do with what you have, because it's important to make a difference for yourself first, and then to serve the others.
Thank you, Eduard. Taja, last comment.
Well, actually, Miskos and Edward told everything. So I think that whatever I will say, it will sound stupid. So I agree.
I, I doubt it very much. You're trying to keep extremely modest, but I can feel your energy. And again, we wish you very good examinations, and we hope that you will get your diploma, because that's real life. I mean, it's not a story, it's not theory, it's getting somewhere by putting your energy at the right place. So I would like to thank very much Professor Koss, Eduard and Taja for their very interesting personal stories about dealing with fatigue. So thank you very much to the three of you. I will ask our beloved drawer to show us the result of his, oh, there we go.
Wow.
Well,
That sounds very, it looks very positive. Nice.
yeah, you can take that home. So
That's very nice.
Yeah, and all of you are looking as dealing with fatigue very well. So congratulations. So thank you. I am now announcing. Thank you very much to the three speakers. We appreciate. And I'm now announcing the coffee break. It will be 5 minutes shorter than shown on your program. Sorry for that. Let me remind you the networking opportunities that you have now for the forthcoming 25 minutes, and then we will see each other afterwards.